5 strategies on how to love yourself even though you kind of hate yourself, or you really don't have a good connection with yourself, you think down upon yourself. This is kind of meant to be for beginners, I guess, but stay around till the end, because at the end I have another strategy that is maybe a bit more guiding you towards bigger steps to take to how to love yourself, you know. So, hi beautiful souls, my name is Joe. I'm here to inspire and share in hopes of you creating a better view on yourself and on your lives. I'm a peer support specialist here in Belgium, which means I assist people through their healing journeys for people who have a lot of psychiatric difficulties. So I really like connecting with people, I like to spend time with people, and I'm also studying to become a coach, and I'm planning to niche down into self-esteem because of course that's my favorite topic to talk about, and also the thing I struggled most with, the thing that was the hardest for me to change. So that's why I'm making this video. I just kind of want to share you like how I started with loving myself, some specific techniques that I used to try to shift my whole perspective on myself, which was actually really good as a starter. So yeah, let's just get into it. And don't forget, if you like this content, to please like this video and subscribe. It would really mean a lot to me because I really want to help as many people as possible actually. So it would really mean a lot to me. I thank you in advance for doing that. So let's just get into it. Strategy number 1, I found to be the most easy, you know. You are probably, aren't you that type of person that is like, doesn't really like themselves but really cares a lot about your friends, you know, you really love your friends, you want the best for them. So we're going to take these friends as kind of our way to start giving that love to us. And how I did that is like when I had negative thoughts. For example, I did something stupid, or I thought I said something stupid, or somebody broke up with me and I feel worthless. Like, let's take the example of like being broken up with. So I would feel after the ending of a relationship like, you see, I'm unlovable. It's like I suck, you know, I really cannot be able to love somebody. Nobody will ever love me because I'm disabled or whatever, you know. These kind of negative beliefs are just starting to creep up again, you know. Your inner critic, the last video, is really trying to get you here and really trying to sabotage how you view yourself. So you have to now imagine a friend going through the same situation. So your friend has been broken up with, you know, they have lost their loved one for some reason or another, and they are feeling like they are a bad person, they're unlovable, will never find another person who will love them again because they're disabled, because this and that and the other, you know. Their inner critic is really getting to them and sabotaging how they view themselves. What would you say to that friend? I'm going to let you think about this for a few seconds. You got what you want to say to that friend? Okay. So I think all of you who are watching this video will be very supportive of their friends. We will say like, oh, honey, don't worry, like this is only one guy or one girl or whatever gender, I don't care. It's okay, people break up all the time, and this is just a sign that that person was not meant for you, and maybe he or she has even some bad taste because you're actually really awesome. You're a very lovable and kind person. That's why I am friends with you, you know. So that is what we would say to that friend. Do you see the difference in what we would say to that friend versus what we are saying to ourselves? Now, why is your friend exactly worthy of this support and you are not? I'm also gonna let you think about that. Probably because you have the belief that you are actually worse than your friends, okay? We are think that, but the truth is that we are so quick to judge ourselves, you know. This is also, again, the inner critic that wants to protect us. So your inner critic is probably answering this question of like, yeah, but you're like worse than your friend, and you know, like still I don't really believe it, I'm not up for it, okay? But you have to realize that that is your inner critic again, trying to shift your reality, please English, into you not liking yourself. It's again holding on to that belief that you are not good enough, okay? This is not you talking, this is the inner critic talking again. He's always gonna want to, or he or she is always gonna want to say something, the inner critic, okay? So just be aware that that is just a thought. And I would challenge you to start to talk to yourself like that friend. Even though your inner critic is talking to you all the goddamn time, saying why you're not good enough, I want you just to ignore it for once. And I know it's scary because these thoughts are the thoughts that we have always been thinking and been identifying with, and it's just kind of creepy to step out of that because you feel like an imposter, you feel like you're being fake. And like I said in the last video, I think I said in the last video, it will feel fake at first. Don't worry about that. It will feel fake. But our subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between real and fake. You know, it's what we are saying, what we are thinking is something that our subconscious just registers, okay? Only our conscious mind knows the difference. But we are really wanting to talk to the subconscious, so it doesn't matter if it feels fake at first. It feels very uncomfortable, I know that. It's normal, it might feel like that for a month, 2 months, a year, I don't know. To me, you know, it also took a while before I really started to believe that. And still on some days, I just kind of struggle sometimes, you know? So it's just really, you have to be committed in doing this action, okay? And I know it's crazy because you're doing something that might help you and you think you don't deserve it. But again, that's the inner critic. Leave him or her for who he or she is, okay? Leave that motherfucker in the back now, okay? So just really try to see yourself as that friend and say what you would say to that friend, and try saying that to yourself and try to feel that love for yourself. It will happen after a while, I promise you. So that is actually the first strategy that I have. So the second strategy that I have for you is to kind of start to see yourself through different glasses. And this is also something like the first strategy, is just like in general, when you have negative thoughts or you think like, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that, I said something stupid. Try to think about it in a different way. Try to look for proof that it might not have been stupid, that you might have not said something wrong. Try to find proof for the other thing being true. As well as like in, for example, you know, when I started pole dancing, I was like, I can't do this, you know, I suck, basically. I have no muscles. Back then I was very skinny. I only weighed like about like 40 kilograms, I guess. So I really did not have a lot of muscle, didn't have a lot of fat. And the thing is, I was like, shit, I cannot do this. And then the only thing that I knew is that I was going to be committed, because I had very little amount of money and you had to pay for like the whole thing in once. So I was like, I'm not wasting my money, okay? So I just kind of did that and I just stayed consistent, and I cried a lot because one of the first lessons was handstands, and I'm terrified of handstands. I don't know why. Still terrified to this day. That's another challenge that I might have to do later on. But the thing is, even though I was afraid and I thought to myself, I cannot do it, I did it. And now I'm intermediate, sometimes advanced level in pole dancing, okay? So this is what happens when you don't listen to the inner critic. You're capable of so much more things. So in this example, if I come across something that I think I cannot do, for example, in the coaching course, it's a lot of like talking techniques, and I also learned them at college, but still I'm very insecure about it because I had one bad experience with it. One bad experience. And that experience was enough for my inner critic to say like, oh, you cannot do this. So I'm aware of my inner critic talking. That's the first step, honestly. You gotta be aware that he or she is talking. So I know that that is my inner critic, and I know because I'm like, okay, I can't do this. But then I started to think, what if the opposite is true? Do I have any experiences in my life that have proven the opposite to be true. For example, pole dancing, I thought I couldn't do it and I went anyway, and I'm actually pretty good at it now. So I try to hold on to that positive experience to make this another experience, another positive experience as well. Because learning new things, we all have to learn, okay? And it takes time. So do you get what I'm saying with try to find the opposite being true? Try to find examples of you actually being able to do something, okay? Try not to listen to the inner critic here, and try actively to find something that is disagreeing with what your inner critic is saying, even though it's very powerful, the inner critic. There is some good things. You have certainly done some good things. So you can kind of try this out on all domains. If you have, by the way, any questions about this, you can always ask a question in the comments down below. Because yeah, it's a bit of a process to kind of try to explain this to you guys, because I know when I felt not good about myself, I found it really hard to grasp these kind of concepts. So always feel free to ask questions. Well, the third strategy that I have for you is actually to not identify with your thoughts. This was also something that was a bit more difficult for me than I thought, because earlier I wasn't really mindful of my thoughts, you know, like most people live on an automatic mode, you know. We think, but we are not aware of what we are thinking, you know. We think and we think that our thoughts, that is us talking, but actually no, you are the thinker of your thoughts, but you are in essence not the thoughts. How many times have you thought something crazy would happen or anything and it didn't really happen, you know? It's kind of like that, you know. It's like your thoughts are sometimes completely random, okay? You have a monkey brain, like humans have monkey brains, and they tell a lot of things to us, like the inner critic, that are not really necessarily true. So, and that also do not identify us, okay? So you are not your thoughts. You are not. So if a negative thought arises, even when you try all of these techniques, it's like kind of easy to again hold on to that thought and believe it's true. It's very easy to do, but I would urge you to try to breathe in, breathe out, and be aware that, okay, this is a thought and I can choose to identify or not identify with it. I'm not going to say to you that this is always the easiest thing, because if we're in a crisis or something, it's really hard, okay? Because then our thoughts are like extremely vivid, are like just piercing through our skin and our soul, you know? But like, you know, you cannot really tell to yourself that that is never going to happen again. So don't be afraid if you kind of fall back into that. But like, just try to be consciously active with not identifying with your thoughts when you're kind of in a position to do that, okay? And it's also a learning process, and I'm still doing this because I'm telling you, I also told this in my other video, like last week I was crying for 3 days straight because I was identifying again with the negative thoughts. So don't worry if it doesn't always work out. You just have to be committed again to do this exercise multiple times. That's it, actually. The fourth strategy that I want to tell you about is to not judge your feelings. This is kind of the same thing as not identifying with your thoughts. For feelings, it's like, you know, they also arise in our consciousness, okay? And sometimes we can feel kind of guilty or weird about us feeling some way about a specific person or event. But just know that your feelings matter, okay? They matter. And if you're feeling like that, it's not really a good idea to like kind of stuff it down or to just say, oh, I'm such a bad person. Oh, fuck me. No. Just let your feelings be and really try to welcome them even, because every emotion has its purpose, you know? Tears are cleansing our soul, in my opinion. It can be really relieving to cry, and it also shows that you really care about something. Anger wants to protect us, you know. Anger comes when maybe people are stepping over our boundaries, or when there is a boundary that needs to be placed, or when there's injustice. So anger is a very helpful emotion, actually. It wants to show you that, hey, my boundaries are not being respected. So anger is actually a positive emotion. Just like every emotion, fear is also wanting to protect us, you know? Be aware of the fear, and you can kind of assess reality, and then, you know, you can kind of be like, okay, maybe it's not really needed for me to feel very anxious about this. Like, I think you know what I'm saying. And again, if there's something unclear, you can always put it down in the comments. But yeah, it's like, let your feelings be there, try to understand them, try to really connect with them, even though you don't like the feeling. It's a part of the human experience, and your feelings can teach you a lot, you know, and also tell you like how you have to move next, okay? So really try to not judge your feelings, okay? And try to investigate them, try to see what they are telling you is a very important step towards like loving yourself. In my opinion, that has also been very important. For example, now when I feel terrible about myself, I'm like, okay, I'm feeling that again. I have felt this before, okay? I'm inviting the darkness in for a second here. I'm being with the darkness, and I try to keep little distance with myself and my feelings sometimes, and I'm like, okay, yeah, this is going on. Yeah, okay. We have felt this before, and then we kind of do the other techniques, maybe whatever works for you, you know, because everybody is very different. This is just how I deal with it. Like there's many other people who maybe try very different strategies, so really try to experiment with what works for you, I would say. So the last strategy that I'm going to tell you about, so the fifth strategy, is actually something that is a bit more difficult to do in my opinion. Like I still struggle with this to this day, to be honest. Like, so yeah, it's a bit of a big step to take sometimes, but it's actually to get rid of everything and everyone that is not serving you, okay? If you have somebody in your life that just kind of tends to give you the feeling about yourself that you're not worthy or that you're not good enough, maybe you have a very strict parent, for example. And even with family, you guys, like sometimes it's just not worth it. Like my father, for example, like if I talk to him, like even at childhood or something, I was always showing him, I always wanted to show him like my drawings because I was proud of them. And yeah, he was just very dismissive of my drawings and even told me that I could have done it better. So I was like, I'ma distance myself from my dad, you know? And that's really hard to do, you know, especially if it's your family. But like, people do influence us. Like the people you hang around with, you kind of become like that, you know? When I was hanging around with people who drank a lot of alcohol, I drank a lot of alcohol as well, because we want to feel that community, okay? So anybody who doesn't really see you for who you are, or anybody who only sees you through like their glasses, which are not positive glasses, which is kind of, you know, when there's just not a good vibe, like you really gotta let that go. And I know it's scary because in a way they are talking to you, they are kind of there for you in a weird way, but they don't make you feel like you can love yourself. And that's just not something, like if you really kind of start loving yourself, you are naturally not attracted to those types of people anymore. This is something I've mostly learned from like Infinite Waters. I'm talking about him again, but he's like, let go of whatever is not serving you. And he is also telling us about like, if you're not helping me become my better version, then I'm not letting you into my personal space, you know? And I know it can seem kind of egotistical maybe in a sense, but it's actually not, because if you surround yourself with positive people who actually want to see you succeed and who actually believe in you, it's much easier to find that love in yourself too. It's kind of like if you have a good support system, you will be able to more easily go into that self-love space, okay? And actually that's a good thing, because when that happens and you feel all this love coming in, it's easier to find love within yourself. Then you're actually able to help more people because you're in an abundant state. You're in a state of overpouring of love, you know, your cup is full, and when your cup is full, you can give other people love without effort. So This is maybe a difficult step, but I can tell you it's not egotistical. It's just you taking care of yourself, because guess what? You have to live with yourself most of the time. And you know, after a while, you're going to be able to have an impact on so much more people in your life. So this is actually a thing to help others as well. It's not egotistical at all, okay? So this might be a bit of a harder step, but it's completely worth it. So this is actually what I have for the strategies, the beginner strategies to kind of start going into self-love. I hope you really got something out of this. Like this video if it was helpful to you. Subscribe if you want to see more of this content, and you can always leave down in the comments below maybe your story or what you have learned, because I'm just one person, you guys. I'm just one person and I don't know everything. I'm sure there are so many people who have so much more strategies. So if you have another strategy, please leave it down in the comments and maybe I will make a whole entire video about it, you know? Tell me what helped you. Okay. I thank you very much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.